This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, June 9th, 2020, episode 282. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is, as always, Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. If you miss any portion of the program, you can visit our website, it's infectionpodcast.com, or you can download our show notes, view images, the whole shebang there on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Looking snazzy with a brand new camera from the great state of Idaho. Always trying to one-up me. Brian, who put the I in one-up, Aldridge. And obviously can't unmute his microphone either because, you know, these are the many complicated things of Brian.
I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for unmuting me, by the way.
I didn't unmute you.
You want to find me I'm just joking. You're
just joking. You're just joking for the audience that has no idea. Yeah, real funny, Brian. You know what?
I know.
I'm resigning from Infection Podcast. You can, have this the rest of the way, Brian. Go for it. With you and your new fancy camera and your chickens and your fish tank.
PhDs. You're sabotaging me. You're just jealous of me.
Okay. I'll show you sabotaging.
All right. Well, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, for some more, welcome to check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Also, make sure you go to our website. If you go to infectionpodcast.com, you'll notice on the right-hand side there, we have a button that says join our server on Discord. And if you do that, you can go through and submit news throughout the week. We have a news channel for that. We also have on there places that we play games of the week and various different channels for games that people are playing. And it's a great place to just hang out. If you want to play any games, send a message in there and people can jump in and join you. Also on there, we have links to our video forms of the podcast. So if you go to our Mixer, YouTube, Twitch, and BitChute, and if you want to listen after the fact in an audio-only version, we have links down the lower right-hand side there. And then what you can do is click one of those for whatever platform you happen to be listening on. If you want to listen on your computer, there's ways to do that. If you want to listen to on a mobile device, you're more than welcome to do that. And then if you want to follow along, you can check out the show notes for now 282 episodes of the show. You can go through and look at links and videos and all kinds of things that we reference throughout the show. You'll have access to that once we post the video on YouTube. If you want to help support us, hopefully we'll be able to make it to PAX this year. If you want to do that, first of all, you can do Twitch Prime subs. That's the primary way that we make money to be able to support that. And you can do that inside of Twitch. Or you can go through and if you're going to be purchasing things either on Humble Bundle or on Amazon, you go to humble.infectionpodcast.com. Or for Amazon, it's amazon.infectionpodcast.com. And those will help add up and we save up those funds, get our Airbnb, and just do different things to be able to pay for that trip and make it something that doesn't cost us a ton of money out of pocket. And that's all because of you guys. So we thank you very much.
Yeah. Excellent. So Friday night. I got to rid of support. Lower third. We sailed the high seas of Black Lake.
Yes.
And
yes.
I had a freaking ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. And I think a lot of people forget just, because you play it for a little bit and then you don't touch it for a while, but it is a very fun game. It's highly competitive. I didn't really have any major issues in the game. Like, it wasn't like it was crashing or, it's one where it takes a lot of teamwork, which makes it a lot of fun. You can't win by yourself. You can't carry the whole team. It takes everybody playing together. And surprisingly, once in a while you get a bad captain, but generally it works out.
I was the captain once because there was nobody else to be a captain. What an abysmal disaster me being the captain of Black Lake was. Now, I'll tell you what, Brian, for people that want to sit here and criticize me, because there's plenty of people that criticize me here, and that's fine. If you would have seen our Black Lake experience on Friday, I think a lot of people's opinions would have been changed, Brian. I was like you when you play Harry Potter RP, when you're like dressed up in the costumes, I'm sure like you do in your house playing.
I was my Harry Potter classes.
Yeah, Yeah, I was doing the voice. I was talking in the pirate slang. I even got recognized in game eventually. They were like, "Oh, the Nick guy's on our team," because I was just screaming commands in pirate jargon. It was a lot of fun. Oh, I played it Saturday and Sunday. It's a boat. I don't maybe this is not a pun. It is a boatload of fun. It really is. It is just it's so casual, but in the same vein. It requires a level of skill's not the right word to use, but like you can't just like walk up to a cannon and shoot it. Like there is a process of aiming the cannon, and in the same thing, you've got to have a captain that can pull the ship into an area in which you're not going too fast. So when you shoot a cannonball, it actually goes towards the towards the enemy ship or whatever you're trying to hit. Requires an immense amount of teamwork to fix the holes, to pump the water out of the boats, or out of the boat itself. It's one of those weird games where without it's one of those things that without you don't realize the teamworkness that goes in, teamwork ship that goes into it until it doesn't exist. And then you're like, this is a joke. Like we're not doing anything. And that was that's the weird thing is it's just people just kind of rush towards something and everybody just kind of does their own little part. And it's very interesting to see how, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really think I can describe it. It's just not everybody's on comms and just genuinely people know what to do. And you do similar to Atlas. You do need a group of competent individuals or you will suck. Plain and simple.
If Atlas could have gone through and kind of adopted more of this mechanic, made the ship combat feel like this, I think it would have been a little bit more successful. Atlas really isn't a game about ships. This is a game about sailing and ships. And like, that's the whole point of it. They did have some other modes. I didn't play those, but I think Donnie posted pictures of him playing in the other two types of modes that we didn't play that night, and he was saying that one of them was a lot of fun. So definitely there's more to check out, but I mean I'm not sure if it's still on sale.
I don't think it is. I would be very surprised if it was.
It would have been. It's too bad because people definitely should have checked it out because now it's $9.99, so it's back up to $10. It was what, $1.99? Was it $1.99, I think, before. So if you got it during that time, I encourage you to get it installed, load it up, give it a try, and see what you think, because it's definitely a very fun game. Now, it's not something you're probably going to play every day for months, but get a group of friends together, jump in and play, and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm going to keep this in my... I think I'm going to keep this in my rotation of games that I spin up from time to time. So
definitely worth checking out.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Now, what about for Friday? For this upcoming week, there was one in Discord that was requested for us to play. And let's see. I think people want to play Last Oasis.
I thought I bought Last Oasis. I didn't.
You did. Well, I did, and I think you said you did as well. So,
I didn't though.
But I know that people were interested in playing Last Oasis. So let's go ahead and do. Okay, so this week we'll do Last Oasis, and then maybe the week after that we'll do. Or in the next couple of weeks we'll do Scum. I know that people are talking about possibly trying Scum again. This time, I'm sure you'll be able to log in and actually play.
Well, maybe that's asking a lot.
Who knows?
And then obviously we'll have 7 days coming up. Could be in the next 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Well, no, probably more.
Definitely,
like 3 weeks.
I think it'll definitely be released in the next 3 weeks.
It'll be released probably by the end of June. Hopefully by the end of June, as long as the streamers don't find anything that's like debilitating.
Totally broken.
And by the way, when we say released, we don't mean released. We mean
it's not 1.0.
No, I don't mean 1.0, but it's not. It won't be the stable release. It will be the whatever they call the beta build or the
alpha.
Yeah, it's in the Steam. You have to go into the Steam options and select the version. It's going to be under
the alpha development build.
The experimental
or staging
is what it's under. Yeah.
Experimental. Okay.
Yeah, I think is what it's under. So, so we'll be playing that hopefully in the next 3 weeks or so. Yeah, I mean, if
Cool.
you guys are down for Last Oasis, go for it. I'll see if I can find it on sale and pick it up.
All right. Is there anything else you want to cover before we start jumping into some of the news?
Trying to think if I did anything else or played anything else this week. No, I don't think so. What about did you do anything? Did you do anything this week on the game front?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing. So this week, I pretty much played. I played some WoW as far as because in WoW, I'm at this point where I'm trying to get flying on this latest expansion, and all I need is just to grind a reputation. So I went through and just kind of ground away at that a little bit this weekend, and then also The Witcher. So The Witcher 3 I've been playing before I go to bed, and just enjoying that experience. It's a really fun game. So that's mainly the stuff that I play this week, and nothing crazy, but definitely enjoying it. WoW is less of like I'm going through and enjoying what I'm doing. I'm more like I feel like I have a goal and I'm forcing myself just to finish it. So I don't know, but Witcher is definitely a lot of fun, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
All right. So there's there's a lot of just really scattered news this week. So first of all, let's talk about a game that we haven't really talked about in a while, but Dead Island 2, there was a leak of actual code. There was a leak of a build of the game from years ago that people have found and they're playing. Now there's a video if you want to play it and then just kind of, you can mute it and have it in the background.
I was going to ask you though, can we play this video?
I mean, they're not getting copyright struck on YouTube, but I'm not sure.
Do we have to show it? Is my question. Not that I'm against showing.
We don't have to.
Okay.
No,
yeah, it's one of these things where it's like it's now obviously I don't think anybody's going to come after a game build from 5 years ago, but it's so this build just magically popped up on the internet. Now, is Dead Island 2 still in development? What's the deal?
It's in development by a different studio. I didn't really dig into it, but from what I understand, Dead Island 2, the original studio that was going to make it, is no longer doing it, and now it's being developed. I think, by Dambuster Studios and Deep Silver.
Yeah.
So
I know it's switched hands a couple times.
Yeah. So, but it is still. I think it's still being developed, but by a different studio. So I don't know when their expected release date. So it was taken over. So here's when it was taken over. The game had started hitting issues with the development. It was being handled by Jaeger development until Sumo Digital took it over in 2016. And then it went to Dambuster Studios in 2019. So it's been in 3 different studios' hands. It's supposed to be released in December of this year.
By the way, Jay Delory is asking why Deep Silver sounds familiar. They do the Metro series.
Metro Exodus and all that.
Yeah. So that's them.
Yeah. So this is a leak from that. Somehow it came out. So people pretty much loaded it up. It's very rough. I mean, things are blocked out in level development and game development. They'll put blocks, like just solid blocks where something is being designed and is going to be placed there. They'll put temporary assets that have very low or no detail to them. And so there's a lot of that in this game. You can tell that it's not polished, but you got to think this is now years later, because this is from 2015.
Okay.
So this is the 2015 one. It's been years since this.
Okay. It's been years and it's literally switched companies 3 times. So I'm glad you brought this up, but I saw all these posts like, oh my God, who cares? Do you think this is going to be in any way, shape, and or form, even
close to the final
start
product
of something that you would actually play? Like when leaks come out like 6 months before a game comes out, it's like, ooh, look at this. But you're talking about a 5-year-old beta build of a game, and then now the build, now that the development has switched 3 different times, God only knows what state it's currently in.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. So we'll find out. Hopefully they don't have any issues, gets released. I mean, this is a game this is the trailer where it showed the guy jogging. He's jogging, and then all the stuff, he's got headphones in, can't hear anything. He's just looking ahead, and all the world's falling apart around him.
Yeah.
Kind of like today, falling apart around him as he's just jogging along. And then at the end, like, he ends up turning into a zombie and all that. So that's that trailer. But we'll see. We'll see what it actually looks like compared to this in the end.
Now, okay, so let's talk. And did you play Dead Island 1?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, some of it. It gave me a headache. Like, for some reason, the gameplay gave me a headache, and so I only could play so much of it.
It's a great game. But it came out in what? 2010?
Something like that. I can look it up really quick.
At this point, my question to you, now obviously we are in such a lull with things going on right now. Everything got delayed.
Actually 2014.
No. There's no way.
Original release date, November of 2014 for Dead Island.
No, because it came out on the Xbox 360. There's no way that's right.
I wonder if that
might be the remake. There's no, because I played it on the Xbox.
Maybe 2011. I think 2011.
That sounds more right. Because I know I played it on the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was a
for
great
some reason
game.
on here it's saying 2014, but there's
because I think it got re-released on the Xbox One and PlayStation, I think, which would make sense.
Oh, okay.
So I okay. Let's, Brian, put on your time capsule hat. Let's go all the way back to 2011. DayZ, the Arma stuff, The Walking Dead, Zombie Land or Zombie U, whatever the hell the name of that was. All these things. Land, yeah, all of this zombie stuff. Dead Island, great game. Is in the thick and the heat of the thing. Great. It's now 9 years later. The game is not out. Now, it's obviously already got it's got name recognition, obviously, but the same thing when we talk about games like DayZ and all these other things, they take so long for the sequel. Does anybody actually want to play a game like Dead Island at this point in late 2020? I feel like we're past a lot of
all
this
of that
zombiness.
Hype is past. Yeah, all that hype is past. And so that's the tough thing about game development. When you are developing games based on what is hot today, that you're always going to be behind. And so a lot of these studios are trying to guess, all right, what's coming up? What's going to be interesting to people? What they're trying to guess, kind of like what Walking Dead did for zombies. They're trying to guess what the next thing is going to be. That's why I guessed, there's a possibility that Western would be a new thing, because I was looking at the fact that we had, we had PS4. One of the hottest games for PS4 is a Western game. We have HBO series that's Western, and I figured maybe that would trigger, and it didn't seem to trigger very much. So that shows you can't really truly guess it, because you don't know what people are really going to attach themselves to.
Yeah, but I just, at this point in time, I really enjoyed Dead Island 1. Dead Island is what it was originally called. If Dead Island 2 came out tomorrow at $60, which is what it would be, it's released as a AAA title. I don't think I'd buy it. I don't even think I'd want to buy it. I just don't think. Would I play it when it goes on sale for like $20 or something? Maybe, but this is not a game that I would be beating down the door to play. I don't know if you would feel the same, but I have a feeling a lot of people. Now, and PH brings up people still on Half-Life 3. Agreed, but I think a lot of the hype along Half-Life 3 is kind of a meme at this point. Like, oh, Half-Life 3. Like, if Half-Life 3 came out tomorrow, I wouldn't buy it. Not right away. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
depends if it was cutting edge. The thing is, people want something that's amazing, right? And if they did it Half-Life at the time, that was amazing for the technology. But now, I think if they just released Half-Life 3 and it was just a standard game, people would be pretty disappointed. They want
It's not
something
even
that's
that though. It's
way advanced.
I don't even think it's got something to do with way advanced, Brian. I think it's got a lot to do with timeliness. Right? I mean, you want to. I have a feeling. You got the book?
Yes.
Okay. This is a brand new Nick Craig Infection Podcast exclusive prediction. I think in the next year to 3.
I'm just typing it now and I'll write it in there in a minute.
Okay. I think in the next year to 3, somewhere in that time frame, we will see a series of games in which the main thing is a disease or a virus, right? As we're all just living through COVID, this, I would imagine there's going to be a series, a similar to what you had with zombies back in the 2009 to 2013
based on a disease event.
Exactly. There is timeliness. Now, obviously, there's multiple facets to a game. You've got the game itself. How does it play? How does it look? How does it feel? Is it a fun game? Right? That's all in thing. But you've also got marketing. And marketing of the game is the timeliness of it. I mean, if you can release I'm just trying to think of something that's just not in at all. I'll give you a great example. Sports games. They're not really in right now. I think people, I think for a majority of people, sports games are not like what they were, Brian, back in the early to, or probably mid 90s to early 2000s. Right? When everybody got the new Madden, right? Everybody got the new NBA. Everybody got the new whatever. That is a huge thing that comes into play. Like, for example, I think you'd be an idiot to release a zombie survival game today. I don't think it makes sense. Yeah. I don't think there's a group of people that are like beating down the door to play a zombie survival game. Is there a small group of people? Absolutely. But you look at numbers for games like XERA, 78 players. That's not thousands of people. So there's a lot that goes on here there's a lot that goes on here with releasing a game. And that is, that's kind of my thought is it going to be cool to see Dead Island 2? Yeah. But I don't think people are going to be driving to their local GameStop.
Yeah. Personally, I think we're going to start seeing more of a mix of MMO and open world survival just because of technology. I think that's going to be maybe what kind of saves open world survival is making it bigger to where, if you make it more realistic to where if you want to not run into a person, the world is so big that you can just be out on your own, doing your own thing and not run across players constantly. And I think that something like that will be what kind of triggers people coming back to open world is just a technology advance and it being something different, because everybody's had MMOs and very set, here's what you do. But I really want to see a game where it's so big and so free. Like you can build, you can do whatever you want. You could sit there on your own and just have your own little base and nobody ever sees you if you wanted to. But I don't, how long it's going to take to get there, I'm not sure. But I don't know about, zombie survival. I don't think we're going to have a big comeback in the next 5 years at least. I mean, I can't see it being a big thing anymore.
I think there could be, but I just don't think Dead Island 2 is going to have any... I don't think it's going to have any legs on launch.
Yeah. Well, one thing that people are really interested, first of all, look at this whole, what's the next one that's coming out? The
Dead Matter?
It's coming out the end of the year. It's not a zombie. It's the futuristic.
Cyberpunk.
No, Cyberpunk. I think that's going to kind of take the reins for a while. That kind of style, futuristic. I think it's going to drive for the next couple of years, at least, maybe 5 years. I think we're going to see a drive towards that, to where kind of like what we've seen with zombies, to where you just burn out on zombies and you're just like, all right, I don't need to see any more zombies. It's just not exciting for me anymore. I think you're going to see that kind of push towards that genre for a bit, and then we'll see something rebound to the next thing. But I think we'll be, because we have a lot. If you really look at Cyberpunk, it's being driven a lot by recent movies that are kind of themed in the 80s, and people are just kind of in that mindset. So that's currently what zombies was then. I think cyberpunk is going to be now. And I think it's going to drive for a couple of years. We'll see a number of games because it takes 2 to 3 years. So that's why I say 5 years, because I think that you'll have an initial set of games. We have one game coming out now. I think you'll see a series of games coming out over the next 2 years that'll be released, ones that have been started as soon as Cyberpunk was announced.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then maybe you'll have a couple that are made during that process, and then I think it'll be done.
Well, and so I think Brian, you can draw that exact same parallel to zombie games. I mean, you had it, and you still have zombie games coming out. I say zombie. When I say zombie, I mean survival. I think we all can kind of when you close your eyes and think of a zombie game, I kind of see
zombie
survival, zombie. And maybe I not for new listeners. Maybe I need to do a better job explaining it. But when I close my eyes and think zombie game, I think of games like DayZ, games like Dead Matter, games like H1Z1. You know, those are the games that I oh Jesus, what's the big one on Xbox where you just chop everybody up? It's staged in a mall. Damn it, I've got it on the Xbox One.
Is it got the guy like swinging stuff? He's constantly like swinging.
Yeah, he's swinging chainsaws and stuff on a rope. I just don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know what game you're talking about. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now.
But yeah, when I think of that, that's what I'm thinking of, and I just don't think there's a big. I don't think there's a big push for that, Brian. It seems like the open world is where things are kind of going. Cyberpunk is going to be having that. We'll have a new GTA out in the next 2 years.
Dead Rising is the one you're thinking of?
Dead Rising is exactly what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
We'll have a new GTA out in the next, I don't know what, it's 2 years. Is it scheduled for 2021 or 2022? Next 2 or 3 years, we'll have a new GTA, incredibly open world.
2021. I think it's like the end of 2021 or something.
So between that and Cyberpunk, there will likely be a push towards some of this, this big open
PH
world.
says it's 2022 that they're going to be doing.
Yeah. So there you go. We'll have new GTA out in a year and a half.
Well, and less. I think you're right. So. I think you're right in that we'll start seeing, like, because Kramit, he brought up the point of the problem with survival is that it's all the same mechanic at the moment. It's you build bases and you gather materials. There's not much to survival beyond that. And that's where I think getting in a truly gigantic world to where it's survival isn't just because they choose to limit the access to certain types of things, or they just make it incredibly repetitive to where you have to, for hours, just gather things. Make the world so big that if you want to go get a specific material or specific thing, like you have to travel for 45 minutes to get there to get the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like make the world that big. I think it would take survival to being a repetitive thing to my goal is to get to that town because I need to find this item. But I need to bring 3 people with me because it's dangerous getting there. You know what I'm saying? Like turn it into that kind of event, kind of this is what early MMOs used to be. Back in the day when MMOs first came out, they would go through like EverQuest, the original EverQuest. If you died, you had to travel from your hometown all the way to where your body was. It could take you hours of just traveling time to get there through incredibly dangerous things. You don't have any of your gear. You're naked running through these incredibly dangerous areas. And there'd be people that there was a time limit. If you didn't get to your body with a certain amount of time, you lost all your stuff. Like it was a big event, but people enjoyed it. That's what made it fun. It was the challenge. And I think that people are kind of missing that challenge of having an actual, it's not just a challenge in that, they put some sort of fake limit on you or a timer. Like I think big open world is going to make a big, unique change in what people think of as difficulty and survival.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I disagree with you that big open world I don't think big open world has got a place anymore. Even Grand Theft Auto is not a big open world. It is, but it's not really. It's really not.
But like if you're having it on the internet, though, if you're having it truly, if you want to have an open world where everybody's playing together for real, it has to be gigantic because the problem is right now they go through and they make it so that only certain people in a area see each other. There's a lot of people in that area, but they'll make it to where it's segmented between people and it's not really truly open world. And I think as technology advances, you'll start to see where everybody is on one real map. It's no longer sectioned off to where kind of like what, that was some of the issues with what was that space game that you got that was a big fail?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Remember when people were saying, "Oh, if you go there and you're supposed to see each other," and it was just, if you happen to be in the same instance, you would see each other. I think that we'll start seeing true big open worlds. One thing that actually there's an announcement. I didn't put it in the news, but there was an announcement of a mega grant by Epic, and it went to this company that makes world size or Earth size worlds. Like they actually have the whole Earth. And it's something that can be loaded in to a game. But they'll be able to do this with other, it doesn't have to be the Earth. Like they took a scan of the GPS scan of the Earth and they have it to where it's populated the buildings, kind of like Google Earth. But they've just had it to where now they're going to be able to, in sections, load that into a game in real time. So like for flight simulators and things, you can fly anywhere in the world in real time. And you'll be able to have the actual distances. So if you want to do true training, if you can speed it up, but if you wanted to do true training of what's it take to fly from New York to LA, you could do the actual flight and see all the things, see the towns, see the cities, everything that you would pass.
Yeah,
so that technology is coming in. I think that's going to open up some new things that we're not really thinking about at the moment.
Yeah. And now for specific games, like you talk about flight games, I think that's a different story, but
I'm saying bring in your own custom world that's auto-generated into that. To where it's not the size of the Earth, but it's gigantic compared to a world that we know.
I don't want to spend the whole show on this because we do have a lot of news to get into, but I do think, and we've talked about this, Brian, there's a reason that games like WoW and EverQuest are not as popular as they were.
Time sake. I mean, people don't have time.
Exactly. So I'm not,
or they're not willing to commit the time anymore.
And I'm not disagreeing with you that the tech won't be there because it absolutely will.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think and I'm not saying you said this, but I don't think there's going to be a resurgence of these 90s era WoW and EverQuest true. When I say MMO, I mean true MMOs. I just don't think that
where people commit so much time.
Their life.
I think you're exactly Brian. Right. I think they're going to have to figure out, and this is where game studios are going to have to figure out, how do we balance to where people feel like it's a gigantic task that feels real, like it really feels epic to them, like what's happening, without it being something, because that's what WoW did. But the reason that it felt so epic is because you invested so much time that you finally got that reward, that payoff of, oh man, I got that piece of gear that I've been fighting for a month. Like I've been working every day for hours trying to get this one piece of gear, and I got it. Like that was the reward that you got from that. They're going to have to figure out, how do I build up to where I can give them that kind of, that kind of adrenaline rush from the reward without having to commit 4 hours a day to it, 5 hours a day to it. Can they do it? We'll see.
Kramit's bringing up Last Oasis. We'll be playing that Friday night. And I know he's been.
I've installed it. I haven't played it yet, so it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah. So. Kind of a hybrid conversation about Dead Island 2 and just gaming in general. So good stuff there, Brian. I like it.
All right, so Dead Island 2.
A 5-year-old build of Dead Island 2.
Yeah, a 5-year-old build. So okay, you had talked about not playing the video for a reason, right?
Yeah.
DMCA, copyright strikes, possible issues. Well, Twitch right now, and it's probably best that you didn't play all your intro music this morning or today, because DMCAs are happening on Twitch for the VODs that people have, all the videos, to where they're getting strikes against their accounts for 1-2-year-old videos that happen to have music in them.
You've got to follow copyright law. Oh no, Brian, I'm so upset.
What's this do for people? Because we have all these people that are dancing to music constantly.
You mean these
they can't have any of those VODs anymore. I didn't call them any. Well,
I'm sure they will get preferential treatment just like they do with everything else on the platform.
Well, I mean, maybe, but the thing is these companies are coming in doing copyright strikes against all these people for videos because they're actually scanning all the VODs and just immediately issuing copyright strikes. And Twitch is then, I mean, it's a 3-strike you're out policy. So that's where we're going to have to decide, do we want to just make our VODs not available to avoid this, just so it doesn't become an issue for us?
Nobody watches our VODs anyway,
as far as,
so I don't,
but I'm saying just don't keep them, because just have it to where they don't save past a certain, like a week. And I think that's maybe what we're doing already.
I think it does. I think after 14 days, it goes away.
Yeah, I think for us, it's not really a huge issue, but there's a lot of streamers that are going to have to figure this out, because people are so used to playing music in the background while they're streaming, playing games, doing whatever. Well, you probably don't want to save those videos anymore, because you will get a copyright strike now on Twitch. So there's a lot of people complaining about this, but I just wanted to bring it up. Yeah, PH says you can make VODs sub only. That would be one way to kind of get around this.
It's not though. You're still committing DMCA copyright infringement.
Yeah, but their automatic bots won't be able to get to them to be able to do the strike.
But you're still
breaking the law.
Breaking the law. Yeah.
So that's something that's happening around. I just wanted to mention it. So keep that in mind, and we'll see who else it starts to affect in the future.
Yeah. So, now it's I know the holier than thou on Twitch now have to abide by the rules of law.
Well, and Twitch has kind of gotten away with this for quite some time. YouTube has already dealt with this, as far as people get copyright strikes all the time on YouTube.
Yeah, and I think the reason Twitch was able to get around it is because they would say, "Oh, we're a live platform, and there's not a way to do it live."
But then they started making VODs, and it's no longer live.
Yeah. Now they're having people uploading content and stuff, and that obviously is an issue. So,
yep.
Adar, are you okay?
So anyway, that's currently going on Twitch.
By the way, if you want to read about this, the links, Twitch's links and whatnot, are in our show notes, infectionpodcast.com.
Yeah, there's some things that we'll be going through today. Some of these videos are things that I just wanted for reference. They're really long. For instance, when we get to Dead Matter, there's some really long videos. We'll mention them, talk about them a little bit, but we're not going to be watching the videos. So those will be ones where you definitely want to go to our show notes and check them out, because there's a lot of good, interesting. But one of the interviews is 30 minutes long. We just don't have time to play that.
Oh, I mean, we could.
So all right. So now, I mean, I could charge the battery on my camera. It would be perfect.
Oh, geez. What's your battery at?
We are currently at 41%.
So your camera's going to be dead in about half an hour.
Yes. So,
and what's your plan for that?
Can you post a picture for me, maybe? Just temporarily? I mean, I can charge it while we have a picture up temporarily. I could. Any kind of a picture. We'll figure it out. Something. Let's just keep going. We're halfway through. We got this.
All right, Brian, you're good.
We'll do the after show with no. Yeah, I'll just have it on me the whole time. All right. So now let's go ahead and talk really quickly about loot boxes. We talked about this 6 months to a year ago, I think.
Okay.
Talking about how the UK was talking about considering loot boxes as gambling. Well, they are now moving forward. And they're calling for evidence. So the ministers in the UK are calling for evidence on video games such as FIFA that charge money for rewards. So they're going to be bringing together a case, and it's possible the UK will be classifying loot boxes as gambling, which then of course means that children cannot participate, which will make some interesting repercussions for all these games that are using this method, because you can't have all these FIFA games be 18 and up games. That's just not going to work. And so we will see where they end up going. I mean, there's not really anything. It's more of a continuation of our discussion that we had a year ago. And there's currently nothing. A case isn't happening at this moment. They're just calling for the evidence of it. Okay. And then they'll be making their legislation or whatever they call it in the UK.
I don't know. Is that where are they going to get up in Parliament like they do and just scream?
Yeah, they yell at each other and scream and they go, oh, no. It's like, it's so annoying. I was listening to something on the radio, and it's like they're doing that. You just have these people in the background going, here. I'm like, what's the point of that? Like, this is supposed to be professional business. You guys are just going,
we need to do more of that in the United States. I don't actually agree.
I know. We just have that be in Congress. And
I mean, it's better than the BS that goes on there now. Yeah. So there is loot boxes.
Yes.
Interesting. Let's talk about Steam here for a second, Brian. We have got something, we had a swell of everybody and their brother was a launcher. You had Steam, of course, the OG.
Yep.
You had EA's Origin, Uplay's or Ubisoft's Uplay. Before Blizzard and Activision were one, it was Battle.net.
Yep.
Activision, I don't think ever had their own. Then you had things like the Curse launcher that became the Twitch launcher. All these launchers, which have never really bothered me, but there was a plethora of them. And it is now funny that's not funny, but older EA games are now starting to land on Steam in crazy amounts. Just in this past couple weeks, they've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 new games. Not new, but new games to Steam. And I would imagine, Brian, this has got to, I would think that the idea would be that some of these services, like EA's Origin or Ubisoft's Uplay, might get moonlit. There might be an idea on the table to moonlight this at a set period of time. Let's say in 2 years, 3 years. So they're starting to maybe put some of their, because I can't think of a reason why you'd put 14 old games on Steam unless you are eventually moonlighting your product. It doesn't make, they're old games.
So I have a little bit of a different take on this. I personally, here's where I would like to see this go. I don't have an issue with a limited amount of time, like Epic's doing, a limited amount of time of exclusivity. Even if they have their own launcher, and for a year, it's all these titles are exclusive to this company that makes them, or whatever platform they feel, is a benefit to put it on. But what I would like to see is kind of like what they're doing here, is after that year, release it on everything. Release it on where, because the thing is after the first year, you want to sell as many copies as you can, right? I mean, you want to keep selling copies, make it available as possible. I would like to see that rather than doing what they've done is having all these separate launchers that are all exclusive and you can only buy it on their launcher or on this console, have it to where for 1 year, you can have it exclusive on something, and then you open it up to go to Steam, you go to Epic, you go to, wherever you want to go that will take your game. Even for games that are maybe currently exclusively PS4 or PlayStation, have after a year, they then release an Xbox version of it as well. So they get all those initial sales of the exclusivity, but then the studio is able to make as much money as they possibly can on the title and not be limited to what console or what platform are you willing to play it on.
Yeah.
I think that would be the better going forward. And I think it seems to be that's where things are starting to go. So I do think that that's going to kind of be the new standard, because look at all these games. These were all exclusive to something. Unravel was only on consoles and maybe a specific launcher. A lot of these are now coming out, and I think they're just going to sell more copies, make the studio more money to where they can make more games. And I think it pays off in the end.
They will, but I would imagine I would imagine that there is the thought that maybe at some point we don't continue with our launcher. And I think this, because you're
especially
not gonna,
for ones that aren't performing well. It's a lot of maintenance.
I would say Uplay,
software development upkeep. Yeah.
What was the last Ubisoft game that came out? I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last big Ubisoft game that came out. Was it the last Tom? I know that they released like Just Dance and all this other BS, but people don't buy those on the PC. I'm saying, what are people playing on Uplay? The last Tom Clancy? Rainbow Six Siege? I guess.
I have a bunch of games on Uplay that I don't even play. Like I'd play them on something else or not play them all if they're on that launcher, just because it's a pain to use and it's just very poorly built and I don't like it to load with my system.
Yeah, JD says Division and or Siege. But again, those aren't new. Siege has been out for what? Yeah. Siege and Division have been out for at least over a year apiece. Well, Siege has been out for 2 years, if not more. So how much are they how much are they spending operating their platform to
when people are buying them on other things anyways when they can
to save 20% on a sale that Steam would take on credit card processing? Eventually that evens itself out, because I would say
they're losing a lot of sales
exactly
from people not willing to play it on their launcher more than what it's costing them.
Exactly.
I think this is if Epic did anything, because a lot of people gave Epic a hard time, but you know what Epic didn't do? They didn't make it forever exclusive. I think they really opened up the idea of this will be a limited time exclusivity and then open it up. because there weren't very many doing that. Like that wasn't a thing that was happening. There wasn't limited time exclusivities that then opened up to other platforms. They would be exclusive to a platform, and that's all it would be.
Yeah, I think if you looked at, sorry for the audio audience, you look at, Brian, if you can sell this many games on Steam with a game, and you can sell this many on Uplay, your 30% processing fee is probably somewhere in the middle. And I think at some point, and again, I'm not anti-launcher. I don't care. If I want to play the game, I'll go and download it and buy it. They don't charge you for any of these launchers. Now, I know some people don't want it installed. That's fine. But if you want to play a game, you'll buy it. But eventually, when you don't have enough new content coming out, how can you justify keeping a launcher alive? EA's in a little bit of a different situation. They've got it. I think if there was one that was going to do it tomorrow, it would be Uplay. Because I literally cannot tell you the most recent game that came out. EA at least has got games like Battlefield that are long-term,
I think they could easily transition it too.
Games. They could.
I think they could easily transition it over.
I wouldn't expect.
But I'm saying for even like Uplay, I think they'd be able to quickly get people to move over to Steam, because probably everybody who has a game on Uplay has a Steam account as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like, actually, one that did do it is Destiny. Destiny 2. They did this to where they had it in the Battle.net launcher, and then you were able to migrate that license to Steam and get it out of the Battle.net launcher. And you could then link all your accounts from various platforms. I think what we'll start seeing is people actually having some sort of interface like what Destiny has, to where then you say, all right, let's log into all your launchers and let's then sync things across all these launchers as far as save games and all that. So where then it becomes less important of where you do it, where you're playing.
Isn't it funny though that like it's funny that you can, and I think, Brian, we've literally our audience has too, but we've lived through it. We lived through the Steam. Everybody's gonna do their own thing, and now you're starting to see it. Microsoft is putting games back on Steam. Hey, I will say this till the day. Well, I'll say it till the day I die. Halo, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you understand Halo. Microsoft, Halo is on Steam. Like we saw the complete polar opposite, where everybody and their brother literally was making a launcher, and now you're starting to see big companies like Microsoft, companies like EA, who and a lot of these games are not known, but Crysis 3, take it for what it's worth. Yeah. Crysis is a very well-known game. Dragon Age 2, very well-known game. 3 Need for Speed games, very well-known game. Mirror's Edge, a relatively well-known game. This isn't just some indie BS that they, have in their showroom. So I have a feeling you are going to see the tides. You're already seeing the tides change with this, because they realize, holy shit, this costs a lot of money to operate. And I know we're saving 22.5% on credit card processing, but now we've got to deal with multi-factor authentication. We've got to cut our own deals with our payment processors. We've got to maintain the software. We need to maintain the data centers. It sounded like a great deal in hindsight, because you could say, if we sell the same amount of copies on our platform, we're going to make 22% more. The reality is you're selling way less. You've got to upkeep these services. And frankly, people aren't buying games on services like Uplay. I didn't even have Uplay installed on my old computer. Like, I had uninstalled it years ago. And I have games on Uplay. I know for a fact I've got multiple Division games on Uplay. Well, I've got the Watchdog games on Uplay.
And that's the thing, is I have Uplay, but I think I've uninstalled. I think I did uninstall it recently. Like when I replaced this hard drive, I think I totally uninstalled the whole thing. And
why would you have it installed? There hasn't been a new game out in like a year and a half, like an actual game that you would even play. And I think Siege is on Steam now. I think. I'm almost sure. I'm almost positive it is. I've been very wrong in the past, but
no. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think you're all right, though. That's going to be the way it's starting to go, and we'll see if it actually, gets to that point to where it doesn't matter what platform it's originally released on. Eventually, is everywhere, and I think that is the end goal. I think that is the end place that it's going to be. I think it needs to be. You can buy it wherever you want, and this is what I've been kind of pushing for a while now. Is my license isn't tied to one specific platform. I'd rather I own the game. Period. I think that eventually I think they'll give you the option to buy kind of like an elite deluxe edition that's a seamless license across all platforms.
And I will say, Siege is in fact on Steam. So, which I would say is probably, it is by far their most popular game right now. It's got to be. Yeah. People are still playing Siege regularly. So,
well, Conquest Acts, he's bringing up, ideally Steam would start curating the games it allows in, because right now I think they've really learned their lesson with that whole greenlit program and letting anybody create a game, because you had so much junk to where it's impossible to find a good game at times. Games get buried by cheap games, fake games, all kinds of things. That's what Epic does. Epic curates what games come onto its platform. I think Steam will start getting a little more specific, especially now that they're getting all these big name titles. That's where they're going to be making their money, not off of these nickel and dime purchases from people with greenlit, or what, like, equivalent of what greenlit was.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, interesting conversation there. Thanks for that, Brian. Let's. You mentioned.
Can we start doing the raffle here really quick?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. By the way, I just sent you a message. I do have the hard out at 9 p.m. There's something that is
okay.
Going
yep, that's
on,
not a problem. That'll probably work out better for my battery, anyways.
Yes, sir. So what do we got here for a giveaway?
So let's go and do it. If you want to enter this, it's ! giveaway in chat, and I'm going to be giving away a copy of Hitman 2, and this is the standard edition, which I think is currently about $60. I don't know. It's weird on Steam how it's listed, but Hitman 2, this is a very positive. It was released in 2018, so November of 2018. It is a stealth assassin action single player violent game. So if that sounds interesting to you.
Wait, is that their description? They call it something violent? Read it again.
Single player violent.
That's how it ends. Single player violent, period.
Well, it's tags. Those are like their
that's their tags. I gotcha. I was that is the weirdest
that's not like their
in the
lengthy
world.
like paragraph description.
Check out my cool game.
Travel the world, travel the globe, and track your targets across exotic sandbox locations in Hitman 2. From sun-drenched streets to dark and dangerous rainforests. Nowhere is safe from the world's most creative assassin, Agent 47, in the ultimate spy thriller story. Does that sound better? Violent. Yes.
Okay. Well, you can enter for that ! giveaway in chat. We'll have that open for the next 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Dead Matter. Let's.
Yes.
You've mentioned here that we've got some videos. Some of them are a little lengthy in their length. What are we starting on now? One of them is only like 5 minutes long. Are we going to play that full one?
Yeah. So what you could do is, if you want to, there's talk. You could actually play that full thing if you want to. Okay. So the first one that we're not going to play is level design. This is one where they go. Okay. It's more of an interview talking about the level design and all these aspects of Dead Matter. You're more than welcome to check it out. It's about a 30-minute video, 29-minute video. So if you're interested in that, we'll have the link to that in the show notes. You're more than welcome to go check it out, watch it. It's also the person who's making these videos. They have a set person who does these interviews with them. Nick, I think you mentioned this last week or the week before. Mr. Atomic Duck. It's on his YouTube channel. We'll have a link to his YouTube channel so you could check these out. But he does have a shorter one as well.
I think it's really cool that companies like Dead Matter and companies like Rust and Face Punch have found people in their community that are so over the moon passionate about their project. Now, obviously, I'm sure they're paying these guys, and if they're not getting paid, they need to take a course in business. But instead of hiring some guy, jabroni, to do your in-house video, find somebody that has got it squared away already, throw them some bones, and
a little motivation.
It's a win-win, Brian. It's a win-win.
Yep.
You've got a guy with an audience, ideally of people that want to see your game anyway. So you've got that, and then in the same vein, you're as a company, you just give this guy money. You don't have to staff somebody. You don't have to deal with HR hiring. You say, hey, this is what here's a contract. You're going to sign it. We're going to give you X amount of dollars per thing. Go. It seems to me like
I think
this is the way that they should do it.
I think Shadowfax really showed companies that this can work well.
And
be very professional, because Shadowfax does such an excellent job with it. Well, we actually have some later that we'll be playing one of his, but he does such an excellent job.
His videos are 95% better than any in-house video. Now, the other people that do really good videos are Arc, And I believe they do those in-house. But for the most... And Scum actually does pretty decent videos, too. But for the most part, Shadowfrax's videos are light years better than almost any other in-house content, in my opinion.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So is this other video an Atomic Duck video?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
So,
and what are we learning about this one?
So this one is about vehicles in the game.
Okay, cool.
And so this one, he's more discussing, what they know about videos and kind of going over what they're going to be in the game.
Okay, cool. So we'll watch this quick video, and we'll be back right after this. After his intro, in which a duck quacks, and then the video starts here in a second.
Hey guys, and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be looking at vehicles in Dead Matter and what features we can expect them to have in closed alpha, and looking forward to the future as well. This is something I've wanted to touch on for quite some time now. In fact, I've had the thumbnail ready for this video for about 3 months. I just wanted to wait until we had a little more to go on. So with that, let's jump into it. Let's start with the basics. Vehicles in Dead Matter will come in all sorts of varieties, from basic cars and trucks to emergency vehicles, planes, and even trains. It's important for me to note that we won't be getting planes or trains in the closed alpha, but these are expected later down the line. If you've watched my video on decaying substance, which I'll make sure pops up at the end of this video, you'll know that there's a timeline in Dead Matter that changes the way we play progressively. At the start of the game, vehicles will be more common and generally can be found in better condition. As time progresses, vehicles will become less common and many of them will degrade to states of disrepair. Some of them will start this way, of course, but it will become more common to have to repair vehicles as time progresses. Most vehicles will have a key that can be used to lock said vehicle. The interesting part of this feature is that the key won't just be left in the driver's seat for you, you'll have to locate it, and there's no guarantee that there actually will be a key nearby. However, if a vehicle has a key, you'll find it in the nearby area of the vehicle. Maybe it's under the store counter, in a kitchen drawer, or even on the body of the unfortunate owner of the vehicle that's now shambling around the neighbour's garden. The point is, we're going to have to work for our mode of transport. The other option is to hotwire a vehicle. We saw some footage of how this works in Vlog 11, and there's a couple of things that you might not be aware of here. Firstly, the multimeter used to gauge your hot wiring and stop you from tripping the alarm is an actual item that can be found in game. This will attach to your tool belt at present. If you overdo it, the alarm trips and you'll find yourself attracting unwanted attention. What you might not have noticed from the footage in Vlog 11 is that the multimeter actually has a battery indicator which goes down every time you fail a hot wiring. So you have to be careful because you'll run out of attempts eventually and the battery will go dead. Currently it's planned for vehicles to degrade progressively if left to the elements, so you'll want to make sure that your vehicle is stored inside if you intend to use it over a long period. This might affect your choice of base location if you consider that you might want a garage or a warehouse for your vehicles. There's also the option of a portable vehicle tent which can be found in the world, but we don't know how common these will be. Either way, this will support a more nomadic playstyle. Fuel is something we're going to have to constantly monitor. As of right now, the plans are to have 2 different types, gasoline and diesel. Your car will only use one of these 2 types of fuel. On top of that, fuel is going to progressively become less common as time goes on, which of course changes the way that we might travel as time goes on as well. It's also worth remembering that power will go out and that power stations are linked to several other buildings. So when it comes to fuel stations, we might be able to expect integration in some way with the power grid and a reward for getting the more localized power going. That's just me speculating, however, and nothing has been confirmed here, just to clear that up. Now, let's look at how we interact with vehicles outside of the driving in itself. Once we're inside the vehicle, we'll be able to interact with the radio and tune into the local pirate radio station, which will give us updates on the current situation unfolding.
Hold on, Brian. Oh,
yes.
Okay, are we going to be in this? I'm pausing the video right here. Are we going to be a part of this radio station? Have you confirmed this for us?
Oh, I haven't talked to him yet, but I'll make a note of it here in my little notepad.
All right, back to the video. I couldn't let that go. I'm sorry. back to the video.
Found this alongside a healthy dose of conspiracy theory about the infection and how it all came to be. Windows and doors can be opened to allow firing from vehicles, which I can imagine is going to make for a very interesting situation when you decide to chase after a van, for example, in your 4x4, only to see the back doors swing open, followed by a barrage of bullets coming through your windshield. As of Vlog 11, we've had a grid system designed for positioning of sub-containers like fuel cans and ammo boxes in some vehicles, which will allow us to store up extra items in the back of our trucks and will definitely add to the nomadic lifestyle choice that many survivors will no doubt choose to pursue. On top of that, the team is also still planning on trailers for vehicles, basic trailers for storage, and even options for storing water and fuel in tankers. Now, usually I don't do this sort of thing, and I like to keep my videos purely informational and factual, but I'm going to speculate on something to wrap up this video. Whilst we haven't seen much in the way of vehicle modification, there is some concept art out there of some really gnarly modifications. If we see this kind of stuff followed through into future development, I'd bet we can expect to see some really interesting mods and Mad Max style appearances for existing vehicles. It's just something to think about. As always, thank you very much for watching this video, and if you'd like to see more Dead Matter content from me, you can drop a like and subscribe to the channel. With closed alpha around the corner coming in June 2020, you can definitely expect some more videos very soon. I'll see you all in the next one.
All right, cool video there from our Jesus, cool video from our friend there, Atomic Duck, as he is. It's cool to have somebody that's got the ear of these developers. Maybe ear's not the right word, but has some play with these developers so that he can talk about those things in some level of. He can actually get some information, same way that Shadowfrax was actually getting information from the developers.
Directly from the studio, yeah.
Yeah. Firebomb is saying, Dead Matter, I'm ready. I think a lot of people are, but I'm going to try to tamp down my, not my expectations, but tamp down my hope. Maybe that's not the right word to use. Yeah. Brian, by the way, I don't see your camera.
Yeah, I'll have it up here in a minute.
Sorry. I think I'm very excited for Dead Matter. I think there's a lot of great things coming in Dead Matter, but I don't want to sit here and say, I don't want to blow it out of proportion. We've seen this too many times. So, another really good video from Dead Matter, a 30-minute level design video. The link for that will be in our show notes, which is infectionpodcast.com. All right. Well, we talked about our friends over at DayZ a little bit earlier, and as we typically do. And there's some more news from DayZ here, including it looks like Steam is down, so I don't know how we're going to view any of these. But there is some things going on with the DayZ Expansion, which is their expansion mod, which is in the studio, which is in the store rather. It's in the workshop, and this group is doing similar to what a GTA does, or a GTA modder does, where they are adding all of the things that DayZ has failed to add, including 4 different kinds of helicopters, 3 different kinds of water vehicles, aka boats, a tractor, a bus, and a UAZ. They are adding walls, gates, doors, floors, hatches, ramps, stairs, windows, safe, stoves, tents, helipads, gun racks, barbed wire, boom barriers, some sort of anti-explosion thing, mesh barriers, warning signs, and a toggleable snapping system for base building. They're also adding custom mapping in many cities of Chernarus, custom trader locations, custom lighting, custom interior, custom motions, street lights. They are going through this and doing like a whole essentially survival version of DayZ, including base building. Now, I know that there are other mods out here like this that do some of these features, but this one is brand new on the scene. It's been up for 8 days. It came out late last Monday is when this first got posted to the Steam workshop. What have you heard about this, Brian?
I mean, so one thing, actually, they have a video for it. I don't know if Can you play that? Yeah, and it shows off. I mean, mainly the base building looks really good, and it just it's so polished compared to, I mean, what they have in the game right now. And that's the main thing I wanted to kind of show it off is this studio or this group came in and made something that I don't know why DayZ itself couldn't produce.
Okay,
Like
let's
they're making a mod on top of it, and it looks amazing. Once you see it, you'll be surprised.
all right, let's take a quick look. Ambient sounds of guns. All right. So it's called DayZ Expansion, and it is available now. It is in the workshop on Steam, and it is available for anybody and everybody who wants to jump in on it. Now, I do want to, again, Brian, I want to state that there are already there are already a plethora of workshop mods that do similar things. But this one seems to have a very concise point, which is cars and base building. That's kind of like the two vehicles, I should say. Cars isn't the right word. Vehicles and base building, which are two of the big things that DayZ has struggled with. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so this is available. So if you have DayZ and you feel like it's an incomplete experience, which I think a lot of people feel, that this is now a good way that you can go in there and get kind of the closer to the original experience, is because the original DayZ, not the standalone, had vehicles and everything. So this will give you a little bit closer to what you would expect maybe out of the game. And it looks like a lot of people are kind of fixing the game with mods, but we'll see where this goes from here. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. It's got a 5-star review on Steam as a mod. It's got about 900 ratings. So take that for what it's worth. I am not opposed to mods, Brian, but I think a game like DayZ should be at a point now where you don't need a mod. Again, I'm not anti-mod, but this is adding things that should already be in the game, right? Because PH is bringing up Arc. A lot of the Arc mods. Now, some of them were things like Primitive Plus and some of the other things, but the base game of Arc was really solid,
fairly complete.
Yeah, and the mods were a nice addition to that. This DayZ expansion is adding the
total content that's not in there at all
into
the
game.
That should have been. That's supposed to be.
Exactly. And I think that's why I would be, and this isn't a shot against these guys, I am less likely to play a mod like this than I am an Arc mod. Because I'm pissed at the DayZ people.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they should have been doing this.
People.
They should have been doing this from the beginning. So, but we'll see. I mean, I wanted to point out for anybody who's into DayZ or, would want to try it out, maybe this will have something that interests them. But it it could be very buggy. I mean, it is on top of DayZ, so there is a high chance of bugs. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. But by the way, there'll be a link in the show notes too. And if you're looking for it on Steam, it's DayZ no space dash expansion. That's the name of it in the workshop.
Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and do you have a preference on where we go after this?
No, sir. What do you got?
Okay. So first of all, I want to mention New World a little bit. This is that open world MMO that's going to be coming out from Amazon Studios. Smedley, he's in charge of this team, and they had two posts they did this past week talking about two mechanics of the game. First of all, the items that are in the world, just a breakdown of all the different types of items that you're going to be able to find. Which I think a lot of it is very standard, but they're talking about some things as far as legendary, so like the rarity of items and how they break down, consumables, weapons, just a lot of those things. So if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to read this article. I'm not going to go in depth into it, but it's more of just giving you some examples of the different type of things that you'll be running into in the game. There's also another post they did, I think today, talking about character progression and core abilities. Like the different characteristics, so strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, constitution. Then they talk about trade skills, so like gathering skills, refining skills, crafting skills. They talked about weapon mastery, and the tree that they uses, so you can get better at using certain types of weapons. So if you're interested in that, if you're looking forward to that game, we'll have two of these posts so that you can check that out, and it'll have a lot of information.
Yeah.
So.
I don't want to derail us too much, Brian, but there is a topic in here about Call of Duty and racism. Yes. And I just want to run something past you quickly here, and I will say this as a prerequisite. We don't talk politics on the show. We're not going to start after 282 weeks. So that's, if you're looking for somebody to talk politics, go watch some YouTuber. It's not going to be us. But there was an alarming number of studios this week that shut off their servers for periods of time in unison with some of the ongoings in the United States. And me as a consumer, me as somebody that has paid for these products, Brian, that to me is unacceptable. You want to have a conversation about social change and whatnot, that's fine. But I didn't kill anybody. I didn't have any process in killing anybody. I'm not a police officer. I've got no skin in the game on anything going on with protests in the United States. But when you've got companies like Activision shutting off servers for periods of time to show solidarity, that really pisses me off.
Yeah.
To me, that's like your water company shutting off. That's like your electric company saying, your water company saying, because of solidarity with Black Lives Matter, we're going to shut off your water. Well, what the hell? I pay my water bill. I mean, it just I paid for these games. There's a lot of things
happening across multiple platforms.
Well, here's the thing. For example, Brian, Twitter wants to shut it off. I don't pay for Twitter.
Yeah, that's free service.
That's a different story. I use their service. I paid $60 for Call of Duty, and part of that agreement was that they were going to provide the servers for me to play.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate them shutting off the servers because of something that they think is important to them. What if it's not important to me? Now, I think everybody can agree what's going on now. There's change that needs to be done. But what happens when the next event happens and you don't agree with it at all, and now you can't play Call of Duty? Now, of course, the response is going to be, you care more about Call of Duty? No. I care about me paying for a service and that service being taken away from me because of a company's wokeness. That really bothers me.
Yeah.
I paid for this game. And if I want to play it, goddammit, I want to play it.
No. Well, and then also there's a lot of, like, for instance, this is talking about how they're doing a crackdown on racism in Call of Duty. So they're going to start doing a lot of bans for names. But one thing they're doing, one thing I don't necessarily agree with is a lot of people have what, they call them edgy names. So like they'll do something that they think is funny.
Yeah.
Give them a period of time to rename themselves. They're doing bans immediately based off of names. So there, people that have a name that they don't deem as appropriate, send out, give a week. Say you have 1 week to change your name, or else your account's getting banned. I don't agree with when it doesn't break the terms of service, and then all of a sudden you decide the terms of service changes, and then you ban somebody. You may not like what it is, but and I don't think they should be doing that. They should be naming themselves that anyways. But you know what? You've let them do it for how many years up to this point, and then all of a sudden you're banning all these
9 years.
people. For
Yeah,
9 years, you've let
9
people
years.
have these kind of names, and you've never said a word. And now all of a sudden you're banning people out of the blue for it. Say, hey, we're changing our terms of service. You need to adjust to match our new terms of service. Here they are. You have 1 week to do it. If you don't do it, you're banned. I think that would have been the more professional way. I think the reason that they're doing this is they want to have a high number of bans so they can say, look at what we did, rather than giving people that, a lot of these are kids that probably aren't racist. They're just stupid, right? I mean, they're kids, and they're doing something they think is funny. Give them a week to change it, and then you won't have that issue in your platform anymore. I think they're just looking to have a high count, saying we banned 100,000 people for ... so they can have that as a headline. Like, look at what we're doing to counter this. We banned this many people.
Yeah, I'm not cool with services that I've paid for shutting off shutting their service off to combat, in this case, racism. That really rubs me the wrong way, Brian. I think if you took this to something like your electricity or your water or your internet, you would feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I'm not we use the example Call of Duty because it's the relevant example. But if you took that to anything else, you'd be like, oh, of course not. What if your cell provider said, okay, we're not going to, we're shutting off cell service for 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Well, if you got to make a phone call, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what you pay. I mean, that's the things you're paying for that service. Therefore, they have an obligation to upkeep it.
I would agree.
If they have but people are tending not to complain because they don't want to be considered hateful.
Yeah, but I just, again, free service, completely different story. Twitch wants to shut. Well, actually, people are relying on Twitch for their income, so that would actually not be good at all. But Twitter or Facebook wants to shut. Completely different story. But when you're shutting off a service that I paid for, that really pisses me off, Brian. And again, I'm not making a conversation. I'm not having a conversation about things going on in the United States right now, because that's not what we discuss on this program. But companies shutting off video games that, by the way, people use to distract themselves from the insanity that happens and has happened for 40 years since video games really became a thing. People use video games to get away from this stuff. And it's pretty unfortunate now that every time you turn on a video game, it's them just pushing politics in your face. This is why people like myself, who, Brian, are very involved in politics, like video games, because it's a good disconnection. Everything else I watch is everything else is politics. Everything. You watch any YouTube video, you watch the news, you turn on the radio, it's all politics. It's exhausting.
Yep.
And now I got Call of Duty shoving in my face, and it's really frustrating to me. Yep. So I'm not cool with that at all. So, put your banner up on the screen. That's one thing. But shutting off the services is insanity.
Yep. Well, they want it to affect you.
Well, yeah, it's bullshit is what it is. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't. So I just, I didn't do anything wrong. So there's my little rant on these services. No, I'm pissed. It really pissed, because I literally tried playing Call of Duty and the freaking servers were off. I mean, seriously, come on.
Yeah.
So there you
go. I wonder if you could say I like a refund.
Yeah, I'm sure they would take that really well.
Service.
Yeah.
See what they say.
Yeah. Real well.
All right. So let's go ahead and
we got
with the time we have left.
20 minutes here. Yeah.
20 minutes. All right. So let's go ahead and talk. Let's go down to the very bottom here, Elite Dangerous, because there's a number of announcements that they made here this past week.
Okay.
And first of all, one of them is that they have an expansion coming out here next year. And there's a trailer for that. So if you want to play that trailer really quick, it's the announcement trailer and it's called Odyssey.
All right, let's take a look. Look. There.
Commander. Final carrier jump checks are underway. Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A hyperspace jump is imminent. Good luck and fly safely, Commander.
Odyssey.
Yes. So some of the important things about this, first of all, you saw that they're walking on the ground. That's going to be, so you can actually get on a planet, walk around before you're using vehicles and things. And then they're going to have a lot more NPCs with, missions. Yeah, they've had crews and things like that, but I think this is just going to be much more of making it to where you can land onto a planet. I think they're going to eventually have base building, but it's not going to be in the initial release. Same thing with VR. PH brings up that the VR isn't going to be ready on the first initial release of this expansion. But that will be something that they're adding to where you can get out, make a base, and kind of have more of a permanent thing where you're not constantly flying, because that's kind of where it's at right now. So, and then another thing that they've done is I talked about how they're going to be doing fleets, and there's a video trailer for this too. So if you want to play that really quick, these are the new carriers.
That first by accident.
Oh, did you? Okay, so that was fleet carriers.
Yeah.
No problem. So that was fleet carriers. Those are the new gigantic carriers that they put in. So those are just I think yesterday they put out this patch, or today. So you'll be able to make a lot of money just flying cargo with these huge carriers. So that's another thing that they've added here recently. So two big things. I mean, that fleet's out now. Odyssey will be out at the end of or at the beginning of next year. And I put a link to this. It's early 2021. So, and you can put that on your wish list. I have the Steam link in the notes as well.
All right. Let's quickly talk about Rust here, Brian. There is a video here that when I saw this, I was giddier than a schoolgirl. We're going to watch this video and then we're going to talk about it. This is crazy that Rust is doing this. We'll watch this video. We'll be right back.
For audio listeners, right now they're showing spiral staircases. So this is a new building piece they're going to be able to add. And then they have foundation steps. So you can have steps that actually attach to your base foundation. Conditional wall corners, so that you'll have special corners, a special, asset mesh that happens on corners. Triangle ladder hatches, so you can have a ladder that drops down on a triangle piece. Vehicle ramps in metal, stone, different types. And now they're showing the Rust companion app.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
It looks beautiful.
So they're going to show you information about your server. You're going to be able to see what's going on in the map. So you'll see
where the helicopter is, things like
anything that you would see on the
players
in-game map. You'll be able to see from the map. You'll be able to. There'll be a text chat for your team. Alerts, smart devices, so you can get trigger alerts on your phone.
You can turn lights on and off from remotely.
Yep. Smart alarm and literally. Okay, hold on a second there, right there, Brian. This has got me.
Giddy.
Giddy. I was going to use a much non-friendlier version of that. This is an iPhone alert, and it says alarm. Your base is under attack. We asked for this 5 years ago in H1Z1.
Mm-hmm.
This is Brian. H1Z1 needed this. Arc needed this. They tried. They half-assed it. Rust is doing it.
And they're doing it right.
Yeah.
It looks good.
This is freaking amazing. This is why Rust has separated itself from everything else.
Yep.
You're seeing it right now.
Yep.
This is game-changing, Brian. Game-changing.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah, and this is going to make it to where, with our large group, imagine if we would have had this in H1Z1.
Oh my God, we would have. You thought we were raping that server as it was. Could you imagine if we had server alerts? I mean,
yeah. So where everybody logged in at once and just dominated. Yep. So yeah, this will be a lot of fun. So it looks great. They did a really good job.
We had a poor man's version of this? Didn't we have an email distribution list or something that we would add people to? And we had like a really poor man's version of this.
We had like a message system. It was something where we would message people and people would all log in.
Yeah, but I think we used email because we were still using TeamSpeak. It was before Discord. So I feel like we had an email distribution list that would send out an email.
Something like that. I don't remember.
Help! We're getting raided! Get on!
Yep.
And it's only taken 5 years for it to happen on
5
Rust.
years now. Finally, a game has done it right. Donnie, he points out that they had this in the 2015 mod of Arma Exiles, which is a highly modded version of Arma.
Yeah.
But that was something that people made. It wasn't built into the actual game. So the app is actually available now. So this isn't some like we're going to release it. This isn't concept art. This is actual. So the app is called, I didn't install it. I installed it, but I don't have anything to connect it to.
So it's I'm looking on the iPhone, Brian. It's got 344 reviews. Again, it's been out 2 days.
Today?
Something like that. It just came out. And it's already got a 4.6 star review on the iOS App Store. I'm just going to read one comment. What a savior. It's been a long day of grinding. The chests are stocked with sulfur, and you have all the components to craft some juicy raiding equipment. You log off for the night. It's 3 a.m. Your phone's ringing. An alarm this early. You think to yourself, but you notice that it's not your clock app. It's Rust Plus. You get out of bed with more energy than someone dumping ice water on you and quickly boot up to Rust. When you open Discord, you're greeted by a few teammates who've experienced the same alert. Upon logging in, you can see the explosions ripping through layers of walls. No longer is there an offline. It's time to strike back.
Yeah, no more offline raiding.
It's time to strike back at the ones who fear the plagued many group minds. This easy raid just turned into a sprawl. This is Rust. So this guy wrote a little poem, but there is going to be no such thing as offline raiding anymore.
Well, one thing that this is also going to do is encourage people to get people in their groups now from multiple time zones. Where before that was kind of a pain. Now you'll want to have a diverse group that has the ability to be online at any moment.
Okay, so I completely disagree with you. Before, you had to have people in your group from multiple time zones because there was no way to know if somebody was screwing around your base. Now, you just have people that are degenerates that will wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning when they need to be up at 6:15 for work and play Rust. So, I mean, we used to do the same thing with corn. How many times did you get up to get corn in H1Z1? I will always remember this story.
Enough times.
Our friend Lance, who I talk to, that goes to PAX with us, he always tells me this story of one morning at like 2:00 or whatever, his alarm went off, and his wife was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I gotta go harvest the corn in H1Z1," and she was like, "You really you need help."
You need to get a life.
Yeah, you need help. You're waking me up at 2:00 in the morning. They'll get virtual corn in a video game.
Yep.
People,
and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, you do, because there's something exciting about, like I said, you wake up with more adrenaline at 3:00 in the morning when you were like, "Holy crap, I got to get my corn," because the hackers are going to come steal it, and then you get into a brawl with a Chinese hacker at 1:15 in the morning on a Tuesday.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and roll through quickly. Do you want to do maybe end a little bit early so we can do a little bit of after show?
Yeah, let's do that. But before we do that, I want to talk about.
We can go through some of these pretty quickly.
Yeah, let me go through XERA real quick. They're doing a play test, Brian. They're looking for a closed group of people for a community play test. They're saying it's an unpaid volunteer position, and they want you to sign up. There is a link in our show notes to a Google Drive page in which you can become part of their community tester / QA team. So the link for that will be on our website, which is infectionpodcast.com.
Yes. So we'll have a link to that. Also, they put out a patch for 6.4 this week, fixing issues with pistols, having incorrect damage, an issue where skins were not applying to the magazine, a character issue where they fixed an issue causing player movement speed to not be correctly set. It would cause players to get kicked sometimes. Vehicles, they fixed the ATV rollback implementation. ATV's handbrake lights are now replicated, which means that you see it across all players. Drones, they fixed a drone stuck player implement. There was issues where drones was saying stuck player. And then the container system, they implemented support for containers to have currency. So duffel bags now have a chance to give currency when no items are found. Robots now have a chance to give currency when no items are found as well. So that's 6.4 of XERA.
Very cool. We've got a story next week about PUBG. They've made some big changes to anti-cheat, and we'll read that dev letter next week. Outside of that, I'll just show this real quick. There's another screenshot here from 7 Days to Die. Some more zombies. They're looking pretty spooky here. You can see the 3 different kinds of the zombie, including the nuclear one that's glowing orange and spits out like acid at you.
The regular feral, and then the nuclear one.
The nuclear one's a pain in the ass, big time. Atomic, whatever you want to call it. So more from that. Fingers crossed, Brian. End of the month, hopefully by the end of the month, we will finally have our hands on Alpha 19.
And then one thing I wanted to mention too, in ARC News, we'll go over some of the extra patch notes that they've done, but there's a new map that I think is going to be coming out this next week called Crystal Isles. And so I will, because of the politics of today, they delayed it a couple days. And so if you're interested in that, I'll probably throw this up on our server, so we'll have a copy of it.
To be clear, you're talking about the same ARC team that has literally delayed every DLC
delayed
launch
everything they've
ever,
ever released.
And they're using politics as the reason for them delaying this?
Yeah, yes. We all know better. You should see all the comments of people on Twitter commenting on their delaying.
And my name's Brian Aldridge, by the way. I'll say that for that. Yeah. I'll say that for the record.
Some of this other news we'll hit next week. We've got another number of topics, but we'll roll those into next week. And then, let's skip. Do you mind skipping tip of the week and all that this week?
No, I don't. I'm going to skip current players as well. Okay, cool. So,
all right, because we're running out of time to where we can actually talk a little bit afterwards. So
yes, and Brian's camera is on the precipice of dying. So I'll say,
Brian, I'm at 0. It says 0% on my
all right, Brian.
Well, 0%. I'm just waiting for it to die.
Let's hear your outro. What do you got for us?
All right. Well, if you're interested in finding me at Boise Computer on Twitter, you're more than welcome to come check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Also, make sure you go and check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. If you go to the lower right-hand side, there's a bunch of links for audio-only versions. If you go to the top, you'll see you can join us on Discord. We have a Steam group. If you want to get notifications before the live show starts, we have our video versions, which are YouTube, Mixer, BitChute, and Twitch. Also, if you want to check out our pre and post shows, we have that on the right below BitChute link there, where it's a YouTube link. Thank you, Judd, for doing that. We have show notes now for every single episode 282. If you want to support us, amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, and you're more welcome to give us your Twitch Prime subs And that's it. Thank you.
All right, I'm taking over. Tip of the week. I'm doing it. Nick is taking over tip of the week. Brian likes to do current players throughout the show. I am taking over tip of the week. Yep, this is happening. All right, hi, my name is Nick, and this is Tip of the Week. We've got a hot tip here. Twitch drops are back for Escape from Tarkov, Brian, starting tomorrow, which is starting Thursday, June 11th through the 22nd, you will be able to get your Tarkov drops inside of Twitch watching streamers that have drops enabled. So that is going to be going on. It's simple. You go into your Tarkov profile, you link your Twitch to your Tarkov, and then you just keep it open. There are lists of streamers on certain days who will have drops enabled. There will be a link in our show notes for that. It's infectionpodcast.com where you can get all of that drop information. And Brian, it appears that your camera is going to run fine at 0% and probably won't actually die.
I have no idea what's going on. It says 0%. It's staying there, so we'll see.
So I have a feeling it's just going
to...
It's not charging the battery, but it will keep it powered.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's still just running off a USB, which is great.
Yeah.
But being that this is the first time I've used this camera, I didn't know what to expect. I was expecting it just to die on me.
You didn't test letting it die down throughout the week and seeing what happened?
Because I was supposed to have the part's in Salt Lake right now that I'm going to be getting that'll keep it charged.
So
I was expecting to have it by today.
So your charger is not keeping the battery charged, but it is keeping the camera running.
I think so, unless it drops out.
I know
so.
Second. It's not going to drop out here. It's been at 0 for 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it runs enough. It's weird that it drains the battery, but it has the ability to run itself off a USB.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm here.
There's another tip of the week for you. Alrighty, folks.
You don't need a battery. Forget batteries.
Yeah, tip of the week. All right. Thank you, Brian. We're going to be playing Last Oasis coming up Friday night. You can join us for that. We'll be back next Tuesday as well with a full-length show. And hopefully Restream.io is working next week so that we can be on our Mixer and YouTube platforms as well. I do want to thank our friend Saul Greatman for hooking us up with that last late-breaking tip of the week. We greatly appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is, as always, Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, you can visit our website. If you missed any portion of the show, videos, show notes, links, pictures of Brian's camera, all that fun stuff's on our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Stay safe. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.